All right, so this is the Mentality Matters podcast. I'm your host, Jason Alarcon.
Yo, I'm your co-host, Jahni Belcher.
Um, just getting to know me real fast. I'm from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I'm a sophomore at URI, and just love to talk about sports. And mental health is really important to me. So,
Jahni Belcher, grew up in Providence, Rhode Island. Um, I am a former student that attended URI, but I had some problems, so I had to step that aside for now. Like Jason said, like to talk about mental health, you know what I'm saying? It's very important to me because without it, we'd be in a very tough spot. And just love to talk about the game like basketball, football, so we grow up with. So it's an honor to start on our own podcast. We've been talking about this for mad long, a couple years actually,
yeah,
but we're finally getting it started. It wasn't just us two talking about it. We got others back at home. Once we expand, all of them will be on the camera. We're all just gonna be talking about, the stuff that's going on in the sports life or about people, suffering from mental issues and how we could support them, give some advice, better themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just excited to get this started.
man, just going off that as well. This is we've definitely talked about this for a long time. You know, I couldn't ask like for a better co-host. It's one of my boys, so just give him his flowers, and we're getting this started, and we're like ecstatic to get this started. Like this is topics that we love to talk about on a daily that we've probably talked about since we were kids. So um,
Every day.
yeah. So basically, what we'll be talking about, well, we kind of just said it right there, but again, just pointing out like we'll be talking about the NBA, like our NBA takes. The NBA playoffs are you know they haven't started, but they've been going on. And then we'll talk about the NFL, the upcoming season, like some of our predictions, and then really the importance of mental health and those topics.
Yeah, and like also like how the playoffs started, the current teams that are lost. We're gonna talk about, you know, what they could have possibly done better, what like adjustments, changes to their play that they could have done better. And for the NFL, for example, we're gonna talk about how a couple rookies, how we think their predictions are gonna be throughout the season, how it's gonna be, because college and the NFL is two completely different, feelings. College is completely different from the pros, so they're gonna feel a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, we're gonna talk about if they're ready for it, what we think they'll accomplish. So yeah.
Yes, sir. First things first, man. I just want to ask how you've been doing, my boy.
Uh, I've been all right. Started working recently. It's been a while since I've been applying for jobs and stuff like that, but finally landed this Stop and Shop gig. I push carts outside, and if I don't do that, they got me bagging it at the cashier, and bagging ain't as bad as I thought. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still a pain because why is someone walking up here spending $700 on groceries? All right, I'm not trying to bag all that. All right, other day I had somebody come in here, walk in the aisle, and all he bought was steak fries, and he had 36 bags of them. Talking about some, I got a party this weekend. My boy, you're just gonna be eating steak fries, like no burgers, no hot dogs, none of that, my boy. Like come on, man. But the work, it's been good. I'm only part time, but been thinking about doing some other gig. As a police guard, my cousin, he got a promotion, so he sent me the link to apply there. Get 30 an hour, so I definitely might do that. But besides the job stuff, I've been all right. Um, my leg been hurting recently. I gotta go get that checked out again because a couple years ago I had to get surgery. Tore my ACL and meniscus playing football. Injury fun game, by the way. I was killing it though. Against Tolman, I played for Davies. Had 11 tackles that game. Last play I was gonna be in for. I heard coach on the sideline talking about some get ready to get your eye out. Next thing I know, helmet to the leg. So yeah, I might have to go get that checked out again. But besides that, I've been pretty good. Pretty good. How you been? It's been a little minute.
Nah,
We
yeah.
used to be roommates. I ain't here no more, sadly. But how you been? You been chilling?
Man, honestly, I'm blessed, man. Just wake up every day, open my eyes, have a roof over my head, have clothes on my back. So I'll say the happiest that I've been in a long time. So
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
nah, yeah. Um, so going off that, our first segment we wanted to talk about is why mental health matters, um, and it really does. We all go through dark times. We all been through our own struggles, and you know it's tough for people to be vulnerable. But it's definitely like necessary to speak about how you feel, because getting that off your chest, it's gonna help the healing process, and eventually, at the end of the day, it's gonna help you out. Moving forward, and it's a day by day process. It's not a linear. There's ups, there's downs, and things of that nature. So
Yeah, because what's it called? For me, like I just said, how I had that injury, that really took a toll on me. Like I wasn't there mentally for a while. I lost my drive to do anything. Before that injury, I was in the gym 5 days out of the week, grinding, working, trying to get better. Because me, I love to play sports. I wanted to play sports in college, but unfortunately, that drive, that mental state that I was in, it wouldn't allow me to like try and better myself for a little while. Then when I tried playing again, I felt a little better because, the physical therapy was working. I was in a better place, but I messed it up playing basketball again. Well, not again, but I was playing basketball, so I messed it up again a little bit. So I'm a little paranoid now. That's why I want to get it checked out and get it fixed. And once that's all settled, hopefully I get that drive back. But it could be, different scenarios, different things that are going on in people's minds. Like it could be a passing of a close family member or a friend, and people, I know a lot of people, instead of seeking to go get help or talking about what they're feeling inside, they just keep it in and it makes it even worse. So I feel like for people, who are suffering from depression and stuff like that, I feel like it doesn't have to be professional help, but like it could be like a very close friend to just get things across to somebody, get everything out of your mind. Don't keep it concealed, contained inside. And once you let everything out, you know, the people that's helping you, they're gonna do everything that they can to get you back to the person you used to be for sure.
I fully agree, man. And just like going through the things that we've been through, different situations, dealing with, being depressed and all that stuff. Like it's a dark hole, but like at the end of the day, like I always think of this like having a positive, attitude. In that moment, you don't really feel like having a positive attitude, but just knowing that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Like you mean something in someone's life. Like you have an impact. We were all put on this earth, I believe, to we had a purpose. We all have a purpose. We all have gifts, and there's people that love you. So that's what we really want to hone in and talk about, because there's definitely people that love you, whether that be your family, your friends, um,
Always have someone
coaches.
that supports you.
Yeah, it's always someone that supports you no matter what. And the next topic that we wanted to bring up, going off of that, we wanted to bring up like, so the NFL draft just happened, so we wanted to talk about um, rookies in the NFL, like how they would do in the upcoming season.
Shoot, man. Travis Hunter said he wants to play both sides of the field. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's pretty bold. Because he did it in college. He worked hard to get to where he was. The Heisman Trophy he got, he deserved it. Um, like I said, he said he wants to play both sides of the field. He has some amazing receiving stats, over like 1,500, I believe. This last season, he was playing really great defense, and I feel like it's gonna be a little different because, if he's gotten a person like Justin Jefferson or like someone like
Tyreek
that.
Hill.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Jamar Chase. Yeah, that's gonna be some issues right there.
He's gonna be battle tested for sure.
But for sure, all right. I already know his confidence. He's gonna feel like he got it, so he's gonna be working for that. So, hopefully we see some big things from him. I can see him playing a pretty solid season. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he'll do bad at all. Maybe the stamina issue, maybe a little bit different. Now he's in the NFL, he's going against faster players, stuff like that. Like he has to keep up a little bit, probably move a little faster, but he'll work on that during the off season.
I feel like for me, like having him play both sides, I feel like he's not gonna play. I feel like he's not gonna play like every snap. He'll be like in different
subbed up for sure.
In different variations because it's like you said, there's a whole new level. Like what I mean, like everyone's faster, bigger in the NFL. And at the end of the day, like I can't wait to see it happen because it's never been done before. So it's like,
yeah.
But his conditioning, like, I feel like we're not gonna have to worry about that. He did it all 3 years in college, like at Jackson State, even at Colorado, these past 2 years. So I have no problem. He's definitely gonna bring buzz to Jacksonville. And they definitely need some buzz over there. And Trevor Lawrence, hopefully having a better season. Injuries happened a lot last season, so hopefully that team could make it to the playoffs. The Patriots, they had A+ draft in my opinion. Getting Will Campbell, he only let up 2 sacks at LSU playing there for like 1,000 snaps that he played throughout like 3 years. He only let up 2 snaps, and Henderson, obviously a national champion, like definitely a great draft on their part. But Will Campbell is like really the face of it. He's gonna be protecting Drake May, and man, two sacks over 3 years with that many snaps played, like that's crazy.
That's unbelievable. That's something like you would dream of as a quarterback. Because that's crazy.
And all the other draft picks, like they definitely like all the team needs that they needed, they definitely hit on everyone. So
yeah, like the Raiders, they got Ashton Genty. You know what I'm saying? That man's a dog.
He is a dog.
What's it called? Don't let that size fool you, bro. Very shifty as hell. He's quick as hell. He'll fight through that line and get them extra yards, man. I can't wait to see what he does for the Raiders. Hopefully the line continues their blocks. Get him that gap that he needs to take off and run. Because once he takes off, it's gonna be hard to stop him with how fast he is. All right.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Cam Ward obviously going number 1. So
nonchalant.
Cam Ward obviously going number 1. Like also was a dog in college. It's gonna be really interesting to see how he plays up in Tennessee, another organization that's like been prone to losing for the last couple of years. And honestly, I feel like he's gonna do great things over there. He's had an up and down. Like he's the first 0-star recruit to go number 1 overall. Like that's crazy. Like
that's a lot of hard work that he put in.
Yeah.
Like prove everybody wrong because 0 stars, nobody's expecting anything.
Not yet.
You know what I'm saying?
That underdog story.
That's the underdog story.
Like he really got it out the mud.
That's underdog in college football. That's that game mode right there. I don't know. All right, I did it once for a cornerback. I'm not doing that again. Absolutely not. He really got it up the mud. He put in the hard work. The hard work paid off. Went number 1. Proud of him. Hopefully great things. Can't wait to see it.
It's just that line, man. They gotta protect him.
They need to protect him for sure because we don't want him having any type of injuries off the bat his first season playing because the line's not doing their job.
He's definitely gonna get the ball to Ridley and all those other guys on the team. Obviously Shador, he fell in the draft to the 5th round. Crazy.
The memes was going stupid.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's fuel to the fire, honestly. I feel like obviously he was raised his father is Deion Sanders. He had to deal with that pressure. But like I feel like
prime time.
he held him to, a certain standard, and he was a great dad to him. So it's like this is really fuel to the fire. It feels like this doesn't like phase him at all. At the end of the day, it's another test, and he's got to answer it.
Yeah, I like it. That's his pride. It's letting everybody know that even though he's just went fifth round, doesn't mean anything. He feels like he could compete with anybody who got drafted first, second round, anybody before him. So he feels like he's gonna prove people wrong, and I like that mentality. You know what I'm saying? That's a good mentality to have because a lot of people, they felt like they was gonna get drafted like first, second round, and they get drafted like a couple rounds after. They're gonna feel like, damn, like was I not good enough? But he has a mentality like I know who I am, I know what I could do, and I'm gonna prove everybody wrong who didn't pick me.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, can't wait to see what kind of season he has. He has that fuel, that drive. You know, haters are gonna hate. Everybody has a hater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna fuel him for sure. So can't wait to see what happens.
No, yeah, and he definitely could climb up that depth chart, man. Obviously
Definitely.
Deshaun Watson, ACL problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they got Joe Flacco over there, Hall of Famer, veteran,
Yep.
but he's 39 years old. But he definitely could start. I think he'll start out.
Yeah.
They have Kenny Pickett, just won a Super Bowl, but in my opinion, I think Shador has a real shot to give a go at Joe Flacco for the QB1 position, during the season. I don't think he's going to start right away, but obviously drafting Dylan Gabriel was interesting. Drafting two quarterbacks,
Yep.
I find that pretty interesting. Dylan Gabriel also had a great college career, um, but even for me, like I still feel like Shador is better than him.
Yep.
Um, he just has to work at it.
Yeah. And plus, like you said, they got that vet. So either way, what's it called? He's gonna teach them. Give them the experience, the advice that they need. Like just in case they got any like jitters. It's their first couple years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's gonna give them the advice that they need to be great. You know what I'm saying?
For
He's
sure.
a vet. He's 39 years old. He's about to retire soon. So, I mean, like I said, he's gonna get that advice. You know what I'm saying? Yes, people supporting him, people that's older than him, who's had more experience than him, and they're good at what they do. So, it's gonna pay off. So,
For sure. So now we just want to, give some predictions, like who we think will be the top teams in NFL this season. Um, well, definitely like the Eagles are number one. They just won the Super Bowl. They very well can win another one this upcoming season. Obviously the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, Ravens. They're always in the mix.
Always in the mix. Thing about the Ravens is like under pressure. What's it called? That the alignment gets a little shaky. So like it's kind of hard. But what's it called? I think they could turn things around this year. They could make it to the Super Bowl for sure. I feel like they always have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. Because like Lamar Jackson, he could do everything.
Yeah.
Like run the ball, pass the ball. If he needs a snap and go for a pass, he can catch it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just a threat. And then he got Derrick Henry, that read option. That's just dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Derrick Henry's big as hell, and he's moving the way he moves. Like that, it makes absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah, and no doubt, like Lamar's going to be an MVP candidate again.
Again, for sure.
Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, obviously Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, like winning MVP last year, definitely deserved.
Definitely.
And he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. They're really close. I feel like they've been really close the last couple of years getting over that hump, and they just can't, close it out. But the Chiefs are a tough team to beat. Obviously, they've won multiple Super Bowls for a reason, and they're still the team that obviously the Eagles won, but that team in Kansas City, they still very well can end up in the Super Bowl again.
Oh, for sure. So. Sometimes it's because of the flag. But, we're gonna get off that topic before any Chiefs fans start hating on me or something. Talking about something. Man, be quiet. Like, nah, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna keep it a buck. All right, them Chiefs, bro. They be getting some calls they don't need. All right, that's some BS. All right, I'm gonna just keep it right there. But nah, the Eagles for sure. They could definitely go. They could make it to the Super Bowl for sure. Again, the way they played last season, bro, they played phenomenal. And against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, bro, They
Nah,
like
they
they
gave them a whooping.
demolished them. All right, like and knew everything that they was doing. Pat Mahomes couldn't get the ball off in time. You know what I'm saying? Kelsey wasn't there in the right mindset. You know,
They was locking them up,
they was
honestly.
locking them up bad. And then offensively, bro, you know, at first, I'm not gonna lie, because like I used to clown Hurts, you know.
Yeah.
He don't got an arm like that. You know, I seen like 2 wobbly passes, and then after that, he just throws a dot for like 70 yards. I'm like, damn, all right, you know, he's been putting in the work. You know, that their line played great offensive and defensively.
Gave him mad
all
time
right,
to throw.
Get mad time to throw. Defensively, they did not give Mahomes a single inch of life. All right, they was not letting him breathe for more than 2 seconds because they was there immediately.
And you seen like the recipe like a couple years ago when they played the Buccaneers. Like if you pressure him in a line, like
yep,
it's not gonna end up well for him because you know he's immobile to an extent, but but at the end of the day, he's not the fastest guy. But
because like he's not moving like Lamar Jackson.
No,
you know what I'm saying? He's mobile. You know, he can move around. He can probably juke a tackle or something. You know, he could juke, but just a little bit. But like he's not that mobile. He's not like elusive. You know what I'm saying? He's not that shifty like that. So
for sure,
what's it called? And they put that pressure on him, and they knew what they was doing. So that's why they got that win. Tampa and the Eagles. Yep. So they knew the recipe for disaster.
They really do. So we'll see, because you know, the film is the film. At the end of the day, like they have him running for his life out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really up to, you know, teams like the Bills, the Ravens, you know, to follow that same recipe and see what happens.
And what's it called? The Bengals. You know what I'm saying?
The Bengals are coming back.
Healthy Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? That's a dangerous man. All right.
43 touchdowns last season.
Yeah, exactly.
5,000 yards.
Exactly. That a healthy Joe Burrow, they're getting the job done. Jamar Chase always goes to work.
T. Higgins.
Jesus,
they got weapons, bro. Man. It's the offensive line though, and the defense.
So. Bro, as long as they do their jobs right, you know, go above and beyond, play pretty solid, you know, they could also be in the Super Bowl.
I believe it too, man.
Because, like I said, a healthy Joe Burrow, I don't know. I don't know who's stopping him. If that line plays great, gets him mad time in the pocket, bro, he's getting the job done for sure.
Man, Jay, like if you were to predict who's winning the Super Bowl next season, who would you say?
That's a pretty tough question. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of teams. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot that has to go into it, you know. Exactly. Injuries always happen,
you know. So like it's pretty unpredictable on who I think could win the Super Bowl. But I believe if the Eagles play the way they played last season, then they could definitely win it again. But if I see a couple teams, you know what I'm saying? The Chiefs is always going to be the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They're always going to be
in the mix, all right? They're always in the playoffs, bro. They're always contending to the Super Bowl, or they just fall just short of the Super Bowl. So, and they've been to the Super Bowl the past couple years. So, you know, I'm not going to say they're not going to be in it, but if the Ravens, like I said, their line gets the job done for Lamar Jackson, then I could see them in the Super Bowl. And I honestly do not see the Eagles stopping Lamar Jackson as much as they stop Patrick Mahomes, because like we said, Mahomes isn't like mobile as him. So like it's gonna be a little more difficult. But what's it called?
I feel like with Lamar though, my bet. Like Lamar, you know, obviously Patrick is like he's better at reading the field. You know, Lamar, you know, sometimes he doesn't really read the field. Read it like that, So like with that Eagles defense, man, like it's like again, like that front five, like we said, bro, like that front five was giving Mahomes like hell. So, and then the DBs, obviously Cooper DeJean, you know, running in the back.
Yes,
he was doing his job as a rookie.
As a rookie.
So
year two,
like if you gotta expect him to be way better. And he's still young, so
exactly. So that's why I like the first team I said won the Super Bowl again.
Yeah,
definitely the Eagles for sure. Because what's it called? They have great talent. That everybody, all right, went stupid in that Super Bowl, and if they play like that all season, they're straight because the players are only gonna get better You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And then like Jalen Hurts, he still has a chip on his shoulder. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Very underrated. You know, I've been critical of him sometimes as well. Um, but he really shut a lot of people up in that Super Bowl, and he did his job, and he's the reason why they won that game.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
he's definitely gonna still have a chip on his shoulder because again, he's very underrated. And
you got something. You got more shit to prove.
no, yeah, and if we were ranking, who's the best quarterback in the league, like, obviously it's Pat, and then
Yep.
I would say Jalen because Jalen, he won the Super Bowl, so he's number 2.
Yep.
So once whoever knocks him off, they're moving up, and then man, we forgot to mention Jaden Daniels.
Jaden
Like
Daniels,
year 2,
yes, bro.
like
I definitely forgot to mention
year 1, like leading them to beating the Lions, who were red hot the whole season, like crazy as a rookie. Obviously they didn't have Hutchinson, but I feel like even with Hutchinson, like he was still gonna do his thing. So
for sure, and he got more to prove as well because as a rookie taking them that far, that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, like I said, people get better. That was only his first season. He's coming for blood.
More weapons too.
More weapons.
Debo Samuel, like
Exactly.
he got a lot to prove as well.
Exactly. So, yep.
So like the next segment that we wanted to talk about was the NBA playoffs and how that's been. So me and Jahni, we love LeBron's our favorite player. So seeing him again bounced out the first round is definitely not something that we expected, but we're unbiased over here. Honestly, after that first game, I thought that they were still going to win the series, but they just didn't make enough adjustments.
In that last game, they have not one big man in the game, and Gobert never plays like that a day in his life. All right, and he finally realizes they don't have a big man.
Yeah,
and the Lakers didn't adjust to that because like, why are you not gonna put in a big man to like try and stop him because he's on a run? He had 27, like. He was getting his buckets, and that was the one game Anthony Edwards wasn't playing as good because Anthony Edwards, a boy, he's 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? He talks his smack. He proves people wrong. He gets the job done. All right, you know what I'm saying? I'm not upset that I am pretty upset. All right, that we lost, but I'm not upset because of the fact the way that they was playing. In last game, they was trying to double team him while he was going into the paint and left the corners wide open.
Yeah,
Mike Conley, bro.
18 year vet.
He's been in the 3-point contest. You're just leaving him wide open. That's basically saying here's a free bucket.
Yeah.
Basically, you know what I'm saying? So I'm upset that we lost, but at the end of the day, the Wolves just played better. You know what I'm saying?
They were a better team.
They were a better team this round. Luka, he's Luka. He's obviously going to perform, but the way he performed last game was a little iffy. The couple games before that, he played pretty good, but like I said, you can't sell out every game, but yeah. And then the Boston Celtics, they're the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, they handled business.
They won the finals last year. Number 2 seed? Yeah, number 2 seed.
Yeah, number 2 seed.
Yeah. But Jason Tatum, not the Glaze, but.
No, he's top 5.
He's top 5. He's like
top 3.
He's what you call like I'm not gonna say perfect, but almost perfect basketball player.
Sure.
Because nobody's perfect, but like the way he plays the game, he can really do everything.
Plays both ends of the floor. It can hit the 3 ball. It can drive.
Hit the midi. Could drive. Could dish it out. He has Jaylen Brown. He could kick it out to Pritchard. Off the bench. That's a dangerous man. All right,
it's not even just like that team. That team is
built
in
general.
Team is built to win. They've already proved it.
Yep.
And it's really up to the other, teams that are still standing to knock them off their pedestal, of being champions.
I feel like the best matchup for the Celtics would be the New York Knicks because the New York Knicks, they have keys to stop all their star players like Porzingis, Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mikal Bridges, he can play defense. He can go on anybody, honestly. But Anunoby will probably be on Tatum, probably. But it's Jason Tatum, so he's going to have a little bit of problems.
No, yeah.
But what's it called? Eesh. We're just gonna see how that is next round. But the Bucks, Giannis was going stupid. All right.
One of the leading scorers and all.
One of the,
He literally was the leading scorer of the playoffs
it's
before
ridiculous.
they got bounced up.
You know what I'm saying?
So.
Dame got injured, but still the way he's been performing recently, so it was a little iffy. So I don't really know if Dame playing would have changed the outcome. But at the end of that last game before they got eliminated, bro, Halliburton's dad did not need to confront Giannis like that. I don't know who he was feeling like, bro. Like Giannis said, he won a ring already. You know what I'm saying? They didn't. So him to get in his face like that, saying he's better, you know what I'm saying, and he lost is like, it's crazy. And, it was really disrespectful, you know what I'm saying? And Giannis is a better man than me because, boy, shoving him, like, get away from me. I don't know. I would have been fined at least $100K. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And we got the Rockets and the Warriors. That's a pretty good series. You know what I'm saying? Last game, who won last game? The Rockets.
The Rockets, yeah.
Jalen Green went stupid, and Amen Thompson as well. I've been saying this for a while. Once Amen and Asar get jump shots, it's done.
No, yeah. Once they put it all together, like it's gonna be insane, like to watch, because that's literally their one. It's like, bro, like their wingspan, the fact that they're able to guard 1 through 5, but like as soon as like there's still more work to be done, and it's like you said, like they're mad young. They're both 22 years old.
Yep.
And literally, like, once that jump shot kicks in, man, you could talk about them being all-stars. They're definitely gonna make an all-defensive team. Like, there's no doubt about it.
No doubt in my mind.
But I still have the Warriors winning there.
I do, because what's it called? Playoff Jimmy is a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he always proves it when it counts. You know what I'm saying? Anytime they need something to happen, Jimmy Butler's that guy to do it. And also, Curry at the start of the series was playing crazy. You know what I'm saying? He averaged 36.7 points a game for the first 2 games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Went down a little bit, but Curry is Curry, man. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time, the best shooter of all time. You know what I'm saying? So if he gets hot, and there's no stopping him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if Jalen Green plays the way that he did last game, you know what I'm saying, and their defense the Rockets' defense is pretty good, then it could definitely be a battle. They could possibly win, but I still had the Warriors over them.
For sure.
And then, also, Buddy Hield, absolute trash. I'm sorry, but man, this is ridiculous, man. What I'm seeing all over IG reels, man, he's getting ripped by Steven Adams. Steven Adams is a tall ass dude. All right, he's not supposed to be playing perimeter defense on you like that, bro. All right, back in your day, you was pretty solid, but now, you dribbling the rock, bro. I don't even want to see it no more. I just been seeing some stupid shit. It's been bad.
No, yeah. For him, he's a spot up.
Yeah, he's a spot up dude.
Come off the screen, come off the screen, top of the key, hit the shot.
Stick to what you're good at. All right, you know what I'm saying. It would be understandable if you try working on it during the off season, but you're trying to test this out in the playoffs, my boy. You're making a lot of mistakes that shouldn't be happening.
Nah, yeah, it's them little mental mistakes that you can't make in a game, but they happen. Obviously, the game it's a game of runs, as we've always heard growing up. There's ups, there's downs. But with them, they were smiling when they were down 30. So that's a scary sight to see.
Yeah, very. Man, we already seen what Curry was like when he's smiling, and that is a dangerous thing. All right,
and they're playing in Golden State.
Yeah, and they're playing in Golden State. All right, Oracle Arena is one of the loudest arenas. Trust me. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, they changed it.
Yeah, the Chase Center.
Yeah, the Chase Center. I'm bugging.
Nah, Oracle legendary arena.
Yeah, that was legendary. I forgot about that.
Man, but the Thunder, I give them their respect, but I feel like they're still very young. Shea is one of the best players in the league. But I feel like, his number 2 option, we'll see what happens, honestly, because, J-Dub, he's a very good player as well, but they need him to make timely buckets.
He's sometimes inconsistent, so... he's not there every night, but, if his second option is consistent, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, Shea, free throw merchant, is one of the top players in the league at this moment. I've been seeing him get his buckets. There's a reason why he's one of the best right now. But
He's gonna win MVP.
yeah,
That's gonna be them votes. I don't know, cause Nikola Jokic averaging a triple double as a center.
Jokic is Jokic, bro. That is the Joker, bro.
Yeah.
And he deserves that MVP damn near every year. All right, but what's it called? Yeah, SGA, man. He's been getting his buckets. The Thunder, they've been on a run, but like Jason said, they're a pretty young team. You know what I'm saying? They don't have they don't really have a vet to give them pointers on what to do in certain situations. So they're young, so it's their first time going through it. But so far they're doing pretty good, so can't really complain right now.
I feel like this next round they're really going to be battle tested whoever they play, like the Nuggets.
Yeah, the Nuggets or the Clippers, because one, there's a Kawhi Leonard, all right,
and championship pedigree.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. He won 2 chips already, bro. He knows what he's doing defensive wise, bro. If he really tries, bro, you're not getting anywhere. And if he gets put on SGA, it's gonna be a really tough situation. All right.
He's the healthiest he's been in years too. So
exactly,
that's a scary sight.
Pretty good. And James Harden,
he's been hooping.
All right. His bag is simple as hell, and it don't matter because he's still gonna get a bucket. Always. It could be a step back or a little hezzy cross in the paint. All right. It's a bucket. All right. Harden's proved, past couple years, people's been saying he's washed, but he's proven now that, who's washed? I can still get my buckets. So
he's having fun playing basketball.
He is having fun, and basketball is meant to be played to have a good time. It's supposed to be fun. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But if they go up against the Nuggets, they're gonna have an issue because one, who's stopping Jokic?
Yeah.
All right.
It's really all the other guys that they have to focus on.
Yeah, all right.
Because you can't you could let Jokic get 30 points, but you can't let him get 10 assists.
Yeah,
you can't let him.
All right. Because Michael P. Jordan spotting up, just shooting the ball. Yeah. If it goes in, then it's a problem. Jamal Murray, the way he played last few games, 37?
30,
yeah. And he shot like 20. He shot like 16 for like 25.
Yeah.
That is
crazy.
Great.
No, 43. Yeah, 43.
Yeah, 43. Yeah.
Just going stupid.
It was beautiful, bro. And, like I said, I'm a LeBron fan. And when he went up against the Lakers, pulling shit off like that, I was getting pretty upset because, during the regular season, I don't see you be doing that every game. You know what I'm saying? It's once in a blue moon with him during the regular season. But
he definitely shows up in the
playoffs. He shows up. All right. And he's been doing it consistently. So I cannot be mad this year. You know what I'm saying? So if the Thunder go up against them, they got Murray to worry about. They got some hitters to worry about. And then Westbrook last game off the bench, he had 21 points.
Still
he shot pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Can't complain. So, yeah.
Obviously we want to talk more about the teams that struggled, obviously. First things first, the Pistons coming back from a 16 win season last year, or 18 games, I believe.
To making the
playoffs is a crazy turnaround. A lot to be happy about this season. There's still things to improve on, obviously. Asara's jump shot could really take them to the next level. And Cade, obviously having that first playoff series, he's gonna have more experience now in the playoffs.
Now that the team's doing better, he's gonna have a lot more runs in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
And Cade, great, phenomenal player. People's been saying he should have got out of Detroit for a while. People's been saying he was trash because he was on the Pistons, but Cade has always been a phenomenal player, and he's always getting his buckets. You know what I'm saying? And defensively, bro, he does his job.
Yeah,
so
they got dogs over there for sure. Malik Beasley being top 3 in threes made this season, definitely having a great year.
Jalen Duren defensively, he's blocking a lot of shots this season. You know what I'm saying? He's been putting in a lot of work on defense, and you see why they made it to the playoffs. Fell short to the Knicks, but they put up a great fight. So.
Their core is still very young.
It's very young. So
it's just the beginning.
Exactly.
So, and then the Grizzlies. Obviously that was a hard series to watch.
I'd even watch those games, but I got notifications talking about they're down by 50. I'm like, whoa, 50, and it was ridiculous. All right,
They just need a,
I don't know, bro.
firing their coach like 2 weeks before the regular season was a crazy move.
Because that's one of the reasons what threw them off. Like they got a new coach like recently, and it's the playoffs. They had the same coach all year, and you fire your head coach 2 weeks before the playoffs. They made the playoffs. Why is he getting fired?
Yeah.
So like it possibly could have been a different outcome. They probably could have got like 2 wins out of it.
Obviously, Ja being injured, played. It played a part, but even him healthy, they're still a tough team to beat. And even with Ja, like he needs to like improve on his game. His 3-point jump shot needs to get that up.
Because who's been very underrated this season was Desmond Bean. You know what I'm saying? He's been showing all season. I was in a fantasy league. He was on my team at one point. He was giving me 30 plus fantasy points every night. But yeah, he's been getting his buckets, and I feel like Ja Morant needs to improve on the 3 and his play style because, Ja's an attacker.
Above the rim type of guy.
He's always trying to lay or dunk on somebody. He has to switch it up to shooting some fadeaway mid ranges or something. Throw people off.
Not be one dimensional because you want to be. The best players are all like 3-level scorers.
Exactly. You know
what I mean?
Right now, he could shoot the ball a little bit, but I feel like he could improve. At this rate, he's like a one-trick pony at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to do the same thing every day, every night, and it hasn't been working. So.
And these guys watch film. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
These guys watch film, so they game plan over stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could run a zone or even have 3-2, 2-3 in the paint because he's not a big dude. He's 6'2",
6'2",
170,
175. I think.
Yeah. So obviously that floater, that he has a nice floater, but that mid-range pull-up, it's gonna be. He's gonna need to add it to his game and just those things.
He does it occasionally, but I feel like that's something he should prioritize.
Yeah.
That in the 3-ball because everybody knows, you can attack the rim, you can go above the rim and dunk on somebody. You know what I'm saying? You don't always finish it, bro. So that's one of the problems. But what's it called? Once he works on that, you know what I'm saying, 3-level scorer, then I feel like the Grizzlies will be a better team.
Yeah.
Because, they're all revolve around Ja Morant. He's the best player on the team, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Jaren Jackson Jr., he's one of the best defensive players in the league. You know what I'm saying? What's it called? He does his job defensively. Can't complain. Sometimes on offense, he's pretty inconsistent. But what's it called? I feel like, if Ja is more of a threat, then what's it called? It causes pressure to get put on Ja, and he opens up the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So obviously with the Lakers, kind of winding down with this episode of the pod, but the Lakers, man, I feel like it's very clear what they need. They need another 3-and-D guy. They need a center first and foremost. They definitely need a center. They need to go out and grab someone that could protect the paint and grab rebounds because obviously with Hayes, he had a pretty good regular season, but in the playoffs, they couldn't really play him because Rudy was boxing him out.
Exactly. No, he's too small.
No, yeah, Luka, obviously needs to get in better shape. They were hunting him down when he was on defense. I've seen a lot.
They took advantage of it for sure. A lot of screens to have Luka switch.
Julius Randle was cooking him.
So Julius Randle, pisses me off, bro. But
he was doing his thing.
He was doing his thing. So yeah. But
LeBron, I definitely see LeBron playing one more year or two.
He could play another year or two, but it all depends on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This could have been his last game.
Yeah, who knows?
That. But maybe he'll play another year. And LeBron for a 40-year-old man, he can't
25 a game.
You can't say anything, bro. He's 40. He's putting in the work. He's getting his buckets. Defensively, he's doing his job. Chase down blocks at 40 years old, by the way. All right, head still at the rim. It don't really matter.
Yeah.
All right, it's LeBron James. LeBron's been shooting from the three, the best he's shot throughout his whole career. He's been improving his game in the 3-point line.
Yeah.
So like he's more of a threat at the 3-point line. So like, yeah.
Like now we want to get to our finals predictions like real quick. So obviously I have the Celtics making the finals and then coming out the West. I'm gonna say the Nuggets, honestly. I'm gonna say the Nuggets. The Timberwolves are hot right now. Um, but like they're gonna figure out a way to like have Ant play hero ball. I believe sometime in these playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Randle is gonna keep having to be consistent. I believe he can. Rudy Gobert. We'll see what happens. Golden State's obviously very good. They could very well this team. The team that they have gives a lot of vibes from like 2022 when they won the chip. A lot of positive vibes, and they have the team to win. I
Pods
believe
coming off the bench, putting in great numbers.
But I really think it's going to be the Nuggets and Celtics in the finals. What it should have been last year, I believe.
Yeah. I do have the Celtics making it to the finals. You know what I'm saying? For the West, I could see, Anthony Edwards, going crazy, going on a great run. I mean, he's inconsistent some games, but mostly, it's the playoffs. Mostly he shows up. And like Jason just said, if Julius Randle, if he's consistent every night, you know what I'm saying? If he keeps that consistency up, then I see great things happening for them. And then we got Mike Conley. Mike Conley could shoot the rock, and play good defense. You know what I'm saying? He's one of their vets. He's getting the job done. He's been playing pretty good. But I could kind of see the Wolves, Nuggets going at it. I could go to a game 6 or a game 7. Because it depends really realistically on who's inconsistent on what team. I know Murray has off nights. What I'm saying? Edwards has off nights. Julius Randle. If Jokic has an off night, you can still have a triple-double and they get the win.
For sure.
And if Westbrook's out off the bench, then that's a problem because once Westbrook's hot, he plays aggressive as hell and there ain't no stopping him. So, yeah.
I got Nuggets at 7 though. Nuggets at 7, they win the chip this year.
Yeah, because if the game 7 is in Denver, they're winning that. But it's most likely the Celtics and the Nuggets in the finals, and that's gonna be a close series. And like I said, the consistency, it depends because there'll be games Jason Tatum shoots like 6 for 18. You know what I'm saying? But he'll get a spark in the fourth quarter when they most need it.
Yeah.
But, Jaylen Brown, he's been hooping. But if he has an off night, Derek White has an off night, and it's just Tatum, they're going to have issues against the Nuggets. So, yeah. Damn. I don't know.
Now we're definitely going to have to talk about it as the playoffs go on.
Not for real, we can talk about this next episode.
Next episode.
So, yeah.
We just want to, thankful for the support. I want to shout out my PRS 360 class. Everyone in there, my professor Keith, the TAs, all my classmates, for helping me, with this motivation to get this started, and the constant support of that. So I want to shout them out. And just the family and friends and family, that are going to support this along the way.
Shout out to the guys, you know what I'm saying? My boy Josh, my boy Deshaun, best friend Justin, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my little bro Jahni. What's it called? Just the whole fam, my boys Eric, Derek, Jaden, love all you boys, you know what I'm saying? My boy Scott, Nay.
Shout out Scott and Nay.
You know what I'm saying? The ATM boys, once we expand this whole thing, you're going to see like a wider range of the people, you know what I'm saying? It's not just going to be us two, it's going to be multiple people in there, and we just going to talk about sports.
Yeah, we definitely got to have them be guests.
Life in general, it's not just going to be all about sports all the time, you know what I'm saying? We're going to throw loops in there, here and there, but you know what I'm saying? Sports is our thing, We finally got this started, after like a couple years of talking about this, 20 years old. We do talk about this since we was like 14 years old. But And, I appreciate everybody, who's going to tune in, watch, show the support, love and appreciate every single one of you. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we make it big, you know what I'm saying? And we expand and it gets even better.
For
Great
sure.
experience for sure.
It's gonna be a slow grind for sure, but we're prepared for it. And then as far as that goes, for people that are going through mental health struggles, just keep being strong, take it day by day, um, and feel how you feel. Talk about it. Talk about it to the people you love or to a professional, to anyone. Um, you know what I mean? And things can get better, and they will get better for you. Um, so we just want to thank y'all for you know we're gonna put this up. We're gonna edit this. We just want to thank y'all for the support and stay tuned for episode 2. So
Yes, sir. We'll be
thank y'all.
back soon, y'all. Appreciate
Yeah.
y'all.